Hey, everybody. Hey,
Hello,
Jody.
everybody. Hello, Amanda.
My name's Amanda Tosoff.
And my name is Jody Prosnick, and we are 2/3 of the Music Education Hub Music Arts Collective. The other 1/3 is our executive director, Francesca Fung, who is in the chat room. So if you have anything you want to share with her, she is there. And feel free to pipe in, and she will answer and respond as needed. So say hi to Francesca, and you can actually post where you're tuning in from if you'd like. That would be awesome. We'd love to know where you guys are coming from. Yeah. So Amanda, we're at number 12.
We have been doing this live stream series since September. We've done 12 of them featuring some really amazing special guests. Who have we had? We've had Heather Bambrick, Celine Peterson, Emily Claire Barlow, Lila Bialy, Sharantha Bettigay, Rini Rosnes. And today we have a wonderful special guest, Dawn Pemberton, who we'll tell you about a little bit later. But yeah, if you missed these last live streams that we've been doing, please go to our YouTube and check them out. They're all there. You can also subscribe and also check out our website because we have tons of great free resources, a freebie of the month that we do, and also a whole bunch of upcoming courses that are really fantastic and also recorded materials. So what's coming up, Jody? What do we have coming up?
So yes, our next big webinar is all about composition, jazz composition. It's coming up on April 11th. And then in May, we have a double bill, so to speak. We're going to do, the morning will be in BC anyway. The morning will be beginning jazz piano. And then the afternoon will be getting started with creating fantastic bass lines. So actually, if you play bass and piano or any other instrument, or just curious about those two instruments in a jazz context, it would be a really good workshop for you to join. Super fun.
Any instrument. Those are really important things to know. So yeah,
100%.
Fantastic. So yes, go check out our website, www.musicartscollective.com. And you can go check out all that and join our mailing list to get notified. So what do we have on today?
Oh my gosh, friends. We have the queen on today. She is amazing. Her name is Dawn Pemberton, and we're going to chat about finding your voice in music, but I think just in life too. She's a wise and wonderful musician and leader in our community out here on the west coast of Canada, and not really all across Canada, more so all the time. And we'll tell you all about that. So she has deep musical roots that take her powerful voice from gospel to soul and jazz. She has become a staple of the Vancouver music scene. And she can be found tearing it up as a vocalist, a teacher, a facilitator, a choir director, and often a go-to girl for all live performances. So she's one of those people that leads her own band and is amazing, but she's also has to collaborate all the time. And look for those people. Those are really interesting people to find as mentors because they're awesome and people want to work with them all the time. So everybody loves Dawn. She is a passionate songwriter and performer. She crafts her own music with a sense of adventure, quirkiness, and groove. And it creates her own unique dynamic and Dawn package. She's amazing. So the other thing that is so amazing about her is that recently she has become a radio host. So she has this new show on CKUA out of Calgary called Get on the Good Foot. And we're going to talk a little bit about her venture into radio host. And she's also a collaborator with Moira Smiley's vocal ensemble. We're going to talk a little bit about that and how she got from being a young vocalist in high school into music school with all of the drama and challenges that can ensue, and also the good stuff too. And she's blossomed into this amazing, powerful artist that we know and love today. So we're going to chat all about that today. Fantastic.
Yes. And I'm so excited. I actually went to music school with Dawn. I didn't actually know her that well, but I remember how amazing her voice is, and just how soulful and beautiful she sounds. So I'm so excited to catch up with her and hear about what she's been up to. She's super inspiring. So let's welcome Dawn to the stage. Here we go. Welcome. Hi, Dawn.
Hurrah!
Wonderful to see everybody.
Yay.
Thanks for
Hi.
joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank
Happy to
you.
be here. Totally.
We are delighted. You have been on our list. We have a list, but you're at the top of the list. So,
Oh my goodness.
So we were just thank you for saying yes and coming on. I'm sure everyone's going to get a lot out of this conversation today. So we're going to start right at the beginning. We always ask our guests the same question, which is essentially, can you talk about your musical background? So when did you discover music and decide that it was your path?
That's a really good question. Well, I luckily came from a home where music was really loved and appreciated, and we were always listening to music. Music was always on. There was lots of dancing and singing, and all of my siblings played instruments from drums to piano, bass, guitar. So it just kind of seemed like a natural progression, and I really just wanted to emulate them and do what they were doing, that kind of thing. And I would say my very first instrument, was definitely my voice. And my older sister, was a singer and was taking lessons, and she was really into singing jazz. And I would go to some of her singing lessons. And so I have very visceral memories of, she's 15 years older than I am. So I would be 3 or 4 hanging out underneath her singing teacher's ironing board and playing with toys, cars or something. And they'd be sort of in the next room, doing exercises and warming up. And I'd just be like, oh, and I remember them looking at me and kind of being like, oh, that's so cute, but I was just having a mindless, sort of unconscious mimicry and learning, right? Just through exposure. So I definitely think that had a really huge impact. But the funny thing is, growing up, I always thought that I couldn't sing. And, I had this one relative who, I don't think they said this in a way that to shut me down, but they're like, well, if you can hum a melody and people can understand, can discern what the melody is, then you can sing. And so my little 5-year-old brain was like, trying to hum everything. And I was like, I don't even know what it is, so I thought I couldn't sing. I thought that I was horrible. And I remember having friends who were in children's choirs, and I'm just being like, oh my gosh, I want to be in their choir. And I just had this feeling of oh, I can't do it, which is hilarious. And then when I got to high school, kind of my heart's desires were you are joining choir, who cares, you're gonna do it. And I mean, and at that time I had been playing lots of piano and taking lessons for years, but I went into my high school choir, grade 8. It's a concert choir, grade 8 to 12. I really didn't know anyone in my high school. I didn't have any friends that came to the same high school. I went to a high school sort of out of my district, and and I remember one of the first days of the choir or the rehearsals, the teacher was like, okay, who wants to take a solo? And my hand went up and I was like, oh, you have betrayed me. It just happened, and I was like, what are you doing? And I remember just that feeling of being like, oh my God, there's all these grade 12 football players in choir. I'm just like, oh. And I remember singing, and I remember people being like, whoa, wow. And I was like, really? She's good. So I had this kind of feeling of oh, maybe I can sing. Maybe there's something else there. And then I kind of started taking myself seriously. It's really funny. I was a very musical child, and my parents, they were like, oh yeah, you want to take piano? Sure. Take piano lessons. But they never really forced us or myself to they weren't like, wow, you're a good singer. You should do more singing. It wasn't like that. It was just kind of they let us sort of explore on our own. So it was really just my own curiosity and my own, I don't know, like inner drive. I think all musicians, you can recognize that inner drive, right? And you're like, oh my God, I have to do this. So that's kind of when, when I was like 13 or 14, when I started getting really serious about it and studying. And I sang in tons of choirs. I was playing a lot of piano, like doing vocal and piano competitions and going to summer camps and jazz camps. And it kind of started right then. But I didn't know in my own self that I wanted to be a musician or that it was even really a possibility, Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
I find that so inspiring to hear that you didn't think you could do it and that you did it anyway. You signed up for choir and you raised your hand and the drive was so strong that you just wanted to do it. I just find that so inspiring to hear that. And I can totally relate.
Yeah, that's amazing, right? It's like, I feel like that's when we know that we have like angels like guiding us, or like just our innate, I don't know, fate. Like we're, when you're being called to do what you're supposed to be doing, those pulls are strong, and they will get you. Yeah.
And I just knowing you a little bit like I do, Dawn, and knowing Amanda, I just also feel like I'm going back to my high school years, and I've known Amanda since she was in high school, and I think we're all kind of tender hearts a little bit, like sensitive souls. So entering the world of professional music making is a very strange place for someone that has more of the sensitive soul because it can be such an intense space. So there has to be something pulling us in that direction. Don't you think there has to be? Because logically it's like, well, they're probably safer, more chill spaces and trajectories we could have chosen, but there was something that was pulling us from a very early age into music. I always say music chose us. We didn't choose it. It just chose us. And the doors just kept opening and you just keep walking. And even though you're sometimes just struggling, there's moments of total struggle and self-doubt, but it's like we're just on this boat going down the river and it's just there's nothing to anchor on. You're just, I'm just going to keep flowing on the river. So I think that's really inspiring, Dawn.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I can certainly relate to that.
Oh, man. So speaking of inspiring, I'm wondering if you want to tell us a few of your biggest influences and vocal or otherwise, and why these musicians' voices speak to you. I wonder if you can tell us just a few.
Yeah, I know. There's so many, right? Definitely Mahalia Jackson was a big voice that I just was like, what? Is happening. Aretha Franklin, Stevie Wonder, Nat King Cole. My dad loves Nat King Cole and like had all of his albums. So I just remember like listening to, his voice and his piano playing and being like, oh my God, like, just so smooth and like tasteful. Like just everything was tasteful. Who else? I really loved Ahmad Jamal. I really love Ahmad Jamal. Something about his piano playing really calls me, Phineas Newborn. Just
yes.
I love it. Who else? I mean, of course, like Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald, like those, they had such an impact on me. And, when I was growing up, it was all about like 90s R&B and Mariah Carey and, like how many notes can you sing on one word? Like that was kind of, what marked you as a good singer, right? And I'm like listening to like all these singers just sing like, no, like just one note at a time, it was kind of a interesting juxtaposition. But yeah, definitely all of those singers really and musician, instrumentalists had a huge impact on who I am. And I don't even know that I was totally like aware of it at the time. It was just sort of like, I know that I like this and it's like it's cultivating my brain in a way.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're getting into more of the bigger philosophical question now. So
Mhm.
can you talk about the experience of finding your voice, finding your sense of who you are as it manifests in your art, and talk
Mhm.
about that process a little bit, because I think that's something that people struggle with, especially when they're constantly marrying themselves against what they're seeing around them, or being
Mhm.
should on by mentors, right? You should
Yeah.
be doing this, you should be doing that, you should like this, you should like that. So can you talk a little bit about how you went from that raising your hand in through music school, and maybe some of the challenges there, into making that record Say Something, which is literally about saying something, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And beyond and beyond. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. So let's see. Man, that feels like a big question. Um, I feel like it's not really until recently where I feel like knowing what I wanted my voice to be like and being able to um, make that happen really kind of came together. I think one of it is just having the confidence um, to really be vulnerable, really allow myself to be seen, and to let go of people's expectations of what I should be doing, or what I should be sounding like, or um, and it took a while for those things to fall away and for me to accept, like, this is what my voice sounds like, this is how I'm choosing to express myself right now. And that took a while. It took a long time to kind of shed that, all those other inner voices that aren't necessarily helpful. Um, and when I was in music school, I think part of it was like I was really young. I had just come out of like high school, and um, and I didn't really know. There was no jazz program at my high school, so I was like trying to learn as much as I could on my own through other teachers, and but I had always felt like I was like just a little bit behind, when I went to jazz school, and I was just like, oh my God, like there were just so many other students who just seemed like so far ahead, and just totally like playing at such a great level. And so I always felt like this sense of discouragement, or discouraged, and like I was like, oh, I'm not good enough. So I tried to work really hard, and but what I came up against really was just that my own culture, the West Indian, um, Black culture, um, being in jazz school, it was like there was a lot of I don't know, bumping. I think, how can I say this tactfully? Like, I think when I was there, there was a sense of like the why of jazz maybe got a little bit lost, and I kept thinking like, well, this was music that people used as medicine. Like, this is music that people used to assert themselves and to remind themselves of their like humanness and their divinity and their right to be alive and their worthiness. Like, we can't forget that. And so I often felt like some of my teachers were, they were kind of like trying to maybe dampen that part of my own self. And I remember I had a teacher tell me like, oh, you sing with like too much soul, you just need to like bring it down a little bit. And I was just like, oh, okay. So I struggled a lot with that, and feeling like, who am I then? Like, what am I? What what's my voice? What can I say? And I struggled with that because I just wanted to sound like myself. But I found like sometimes I had to emulate other sounds to do the assignment, or which was a bit of a struggle. Yeah.
It sounds like there was a lot of pedagogy caught up in the how and not enough about the why. And the why would allow some more space for the unique lived experience to emerge when we ponder the why. So that's a very interesting commentary. So let's chat about, so you get out of school and you felt contracted, and a little bit like a beautiful flower that someone has been stomped on in the garden, like a dog's run off. You're like,
yeah.
Oh, I need some water. I need some care. So what the next step? How did you fertilize yourself? How did you put the water and the fertilizer in the sun? Like, what did you do?
To
get stronger? Because clearly the roots were still there. So you were able to absolutely blossom and grow in this music garden. So Dawn, what conscious choices did you make? And also what happenstances showed up that helped?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I can say, once I graduated, I was really sad, like very, very sad and very heartbroken about music. And I couldn't even listen to jazz, and I couldn't even sing jazz, and I couldn't even sing. Like, I just was very sad. And I would just cry. Like, I think I cried for a very long time, like every day, hours and hours. It was heartbreaking. And I think part of it was I just had lost my confidence. And so I had to find other things that, kind of reignited my joy. And I didn't know what those things were. So whenever I just found something like, listening to like a great Stevie Wonder tune, I'd just be like, oh yeah, this is good. This is the stuff. Okay. Let me remember this. Or, or, I'd hear like, ooh, Count Basie, like, I'm like, okay, I can listen to this. This doesn't hurt too bad, So I would just start collecting those things that made me feel, like I was worthy of existing musically. And then, I had really wonderful friends that I went to school with. So, they were really, really loving, and, we played music together, and that was really helpful. I really, just started kind of exploring other music styles. And then I joined a gospel choir. And at that point, I was like really just afraid to sing. And my mom one day was like, I saw this choir. They did a great concert. Like, I could see you singing with them, and at this point, I didn't really share with anyone in my family or like in my wider circle, like of what my school experience was. So, so they were just like, hey, you should do this, and so I was like, oh, maybe my mom's right. Like, maybe that would be a joyful place to be. And so I joined this choir, and I think that really gave me a really beautiful place to develop some other sides of my singing, and to learn some other things, and learn some other ways of music making. And that really had a profound effect on just building confidence, and giving me a place to practice performing, and practice improvising in another way, like, in a way that involved like a huge choir and a big band, a director, and like, you know, in your own self and your own spirit. So I think that really helped me to reconnect with those parts of myself that kind of shut down.
That's so beautiful.
So beautiful. So I hear the story about peers being important, you know, a circle of friends that were your back pocket people that just love you, not love what you do. It's just love you and support what you do. And also then that bigger, finding a different space in music that nurtured what you were needing to fuel the light in you. And from there, look what's happened. I mean, it's a very inspiring story, I think, especially for young folk that may be feeling exactly how you're feeling right now, that it isn't necessarily, you know, like it's everything's process, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's like pandemic.
Yeah.
There will be a light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully.
Absolutely. Yeah. I also just want to mention, I don't know if you guys can see all the chats from the different pages that we're streaming to, but there's people saying, "You're amazing, Dawn. Love you. You're a CanCom gem. I'm totally relating to what you're saying about music school," and just like so many wonderful comments. So yes,
lots of heart emojis. And
you are powerful. There's lots of love out there. You got to go where the love is, right?
You are exactly. My gospel introduction. Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, and that being said, like, you know, I wouldn't want to change anything that I experienced, you know, what I mean, I feel like I gathered a lot of wisdom, and I don't have any ill feelings towards any of my instructors. Like, they were just doing what, you know, they were just operating from their own space. So, you know, and they were trying to do the best they could in their own way within this like very like weird structure of teaching in a university. So, you know, and I love the fact that I went to this school. I know amazing people. I have amazing skills, especially as a vocalist. You know, people are like, well, how can you do that? It's like, oh, well, didn't you learn how to do that? Like, you know, so I'm thankful for all the tools that I have from, you know, going to school. So, you know, it's not a bad thing. It was just a hard thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so Jody mentioned your album, Say Something, and which is fantastic, by the way. And we hope that there'll be another one on the way at some point soon.
Yeah, working on it. It's in the kitchen right now.
Ooh, fantastic. And of course, Jody also mentioned that you collaborate with a lot of great people: Five Alarm Funk, BJ Block, Warren Flandes, and Moira Smiley. And we want to hear more about your collaboration with Moira and the your beautiful reinterpretation of "Oh, Susannah."
Yeah, sure. So Moira has been a lovely friend for a long time, and I was introduced to her music through my friend Carla Mundy, and we were singing in an a cappella group together called the Shirleys, and we had, you know, we were always like looking for music to sing and arrange. And so, you know, this is at a time when we were like, you know, there was no YouTube was just starting, right? So we had like cassettes, and we're like, okay, I think they're singing this, you know, and like writing and transcribing all the parts. And I think Carla just like emailed Moira like, hey, we want to sing your music. And that kind of created this relationship of learning from one another and doing shows together. And at that time, Moira was living in LA. And so we just kind of kept up this relationship. And then was it like, I guess 2 years ago, Moira was like, hey, I'm planning this tour, and I'm putting together a different version of Voco. Before it had been all treble voices, and now she wanted to have like mixed voices of, you know, SATB kind of thing. And all the singers in the group were like in different areas of North America, like LA, Vermont, you know, Vancouver. So she had given us this like Dropbox folder of music, and it was like, oh, you want me to do what? Like, what? Like, it is to this day some of the hardest music that I've ever sung, because, you know, not only is it like super dissonant and like technically challenging, you know, like huge jumps, and you're singing in like 7/4, and then you're singing in 6/4. Now you're singing in 3/4, and you're also doing body percussion at the same time. It was like, will I ever get this? And I just kept saying, like, one day this is going to be really easy, you know. And so she gave us a lot of time to work on it, which is great. And so it was a real honor. I was like, oh my gosh, like I just respect her musicianship so much. And I was like, don't mess this up. Like you got one chance. Like, come on, you got to bring it. So, so it was really fun, you know, and we were rehearsing on Zoom, or FaceTime, which is like crazy. But we managed to make it happen. And we had like one rehearsal in LA before we went on tour. Anyway, so we were touring in the southern US, Texas, Alabama. Where else were we? I can't remember. In the South. And Moira had like asked, like, you know, hey, I'd love for everyone in the group to have some kind of feature or something. And she's like, I think, what do you think about doing Oh Susannah? I was like, sure, like I can arrange something for the group. And she's like, no, I just think you should just do it on your own. Like just sit down at the piano and play. And I was like, okay. You know, it's a song that I had been singing in my own repertoire for a while. And that I first heard Ruthie Foster do it at a concert in Vancouver. And it just like gutted me and broke my heart wide open. And I was like, I need to learn this version. So we were in Alabama, and I was singing Oh Susannah, and I'm just being like, oh, this is interesting, you know. And the way the version of the song is, like, it just kind of reframes it in a way that thinks about the relationship of the people and who is trying to get back to Oh Susannah, who is Oh Susannah. And the way that Ruthie Foster framed it is that, you know, think of it as two enslaved people, like trying to find each other. And so fast forward to the tour, and to, you know, we were the pandemic happening, and then Moira was like, you know, I would love to put this tune on the album. She's like, can you just record something at home, like a little, you know, demo track, and send it to me? And I was like, sure. But I was really nervous because I was like, I'm still thinking like, I can't do this. I'm not good enough. And so finally she's like, I really need that recording. Like, send it to me. And I was like, okay. So it was like, you know, the middle of the night, and I'm recording and playing, and I sent it to her. And then she just starts to like add a bit of vocal texture and some banjo parts. And then we worked on like some of the drum parts together. And we just tried to make it sound as organic as possible. Like, what would it be like if people were on stage together, entering in this piece together? And then, you know, I was like, okay, well, you need me to redo the vocals, right? She's like, no, they're fine. I'm like, what? I'm like, those were scratch vocals. Like, hell no. I'm terrified. She's like, no, it's good. It's really good. And then I listened to it, and I was like, you know what? It is. It's great. It's good. I agree. You know, I don't need to redo them. But that was really interesting. Like, just that feeling of like, you know, when you capture a moment, like sometimes that's just the moment. Anyway, so the idea behind the song, you know, that we talked a lot about was, you know, especially during the time of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement kind of gaining more awareness and traction, was, you know, I really just wanted to show just the inner lives of Black people. And for, you know, of course, Black Lives Matter, but I wanted people to understand why they matter. It's because we love and we play and we hurt just the same as anyone else. So I found this footage about this documentary of Parlor Street, and I thought this is such a beautiful thing to put together with this song because it kind of demonstrates that. And remember, this was shot at a time when no one had like cameras, when this was kind of a special thing to have this like inner glimpse at the lives of just some regular lovely people.
Should we listen to a little bit?
Sure. Yeah.
Just a clip, and then everyone can go to YouTube and check out the full one a little later. But it's so beautiful.
Go buy the album.
Yes, go buy the album. Absolutely.
I'm gonna get my tissues. Hold on.
Okay. Sure.
All right, here we go. Okay, let's get this queued up. Let me start. Technical. Let me try that again. What a moment. So beautiful. Here we go. I guess we're having some technical difficulties.
That's okay.
Oh, that was just so beautifully put up. I really want to hear it. I'm going to try it one last time because it's so gorgeous.
Maybe just
really
leave it in
have
the
to hear
smaller version, Amanda. It would seem to be working.
Yeah.
Don't
Let's
make it big. Just make it, keep it small.
Okay, here we go.
No.
Oh, I'm so sad.
That's okay. Computer says no.
Okay, well,
That's probably better. Nobody wants to be watching me cry. Live stream Jody crying.
It's so beautiful though. It really it's
Thank you.
yeah, goosebumps. And so everyone, please go check out. It's Francesca's putting that in the chat, so you can go listen to that. Oh, I'm so sorry that didn't work. That was just such a beautiful moment.
No worries. That's the gremlins, the Zoom gremlins. It happens.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes the internet just doesn't want to handle all the awesomeness. It's
Too much awesome. It's true.
Too much awesome.
Well, I guess we'll continue on with talking about some other wonderful projects or collaborations. We're just curious what's going on for you these days. What's coming up? What are you doing?
Yeah. Right now I am, dreaming and getting ready to release another album. Like it's, early stages still. And still collaborating with Moira and, we're doing some workshops together online. Let's see, what else am I doing? Teaching a little bit, not tons, but a little bit, and doing lots of great workshops with other choirs. I'm still leading my women's choir. We're still hanging out online together, which is really fun. And then, I just recently I started hosting a radio show, which has been super fun.
Yeah, let's talk about your radio show. So everybody can listen to this luxurious voice every Saturday. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Listen to that. That's so good. It's like butter. So your show is called Get on the Good Foot on CKUA Radio. So out of Calgary, but of course with the internet, you can all tune in to Dawn's show. So talk about the concept for the show. And the music, the kind of music you're programming, and why these artists?
Yeah, great question. So I wanted the show to be joyful and to kind of, looking at the CKUA roster of shows, like if you ever need just to turn on the radio and hear great music at any point of the day. Like, I feel like that station does a good job of doing that. And so I was like, okay, well, they have like, really dedicated blues show. They have a jazz show. They have a jazz vocal show. They have like, I'm like, what else? They have a reggae show. I'm like, they need like some funk and soul. That's kind of like the one little piece that was missing. So I was like, you know what? I would love to do a show that was joyful and happy. Again, that acknowledges like the contribution of Black musicians to the world's music, and that celebrates that recognizes that this music is, again, medicine. It's how people like heal their hearts and were able to continue to live in a racist white supremacist society. It doesn't get that heavy all the time, but it's like the reason why we relate to this music and why it feels good and speaks to us is because it's like trying to nurture someone's humanity and someone's heart, so I think, so that was kind of the one hand. And the other hand is I wanted to also showcase some great funk, soul, R&B artists in Canada, because I think there is, that music does exist. There are some great musicians and bands who are creating that music, and I think it's just great for their voices and their tunes to be heard.
So great. Oh my gosh. The way you keep talking about music as medicine, I swear to God, that's absolutely the way I've ever heard it described. I mean, I just remember the first time I heard Ray Brown play, I was 13 years old. And all I could think of was, I want to do whatever he's doing to me right now. I want to be able to do that for other people, because the joy, the beat, the joy, was so electric. It was unbelievable. And that's exactly what it is. It was medicine. It was medicine. It was amazing.
Yeah. I think that's why we're all, why we all are drawn to it, right? Even as young kids, I think we understood that. We understood that there was a place for us within the music, and that there was like a safety and like a sacredness. What else would make you want to practice for like 4 hours a day, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that was so beautiful. I had goosebumps like multiple times during this conversation. Just so many wonderful things you've shared, and I so appreciate you dropping in and doing this.
Of course, my pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah. I wonder, can we do a quick take 5?
Do it.
Or quick questions. I'm going to play some background music.
So Amanda's going to accompany us. We're ready.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a slam round, ladies and gentlemen. Slam questions. Take 5 rounds. Question number 1. Dawn, are you ready?
I'm ready.
If you weren't a musician, what would you be interested in doing?
I would be a radio host. Yeah. I'd be a radio host.
Okay, let's go up in key. Next one. Okay, here we go. Your favorite venue that you've ever played?
Oh my gosh. Okay, it's going to be the O5 Arena in Manchester, England.
Woo!
Yeah.
Wow.
I was playing with the Harpoonist and the Axe Murderer. We were opening for St. Paul and the Broken Bones. That was insane.
Amazing. Okay. Yeah. Number 3. Who were the 3 people that licked. This is a family show on Sunday. Lit or spark, the 3 people. They always say there's 3 people. Who are those 3 people that fueled you?
Okay. Do they have to be like musical people?
Nope.
Okay. I'd say my mom, Stevie Wonder, and Oh man, there's so many. Oh, this is really hard. I know I'm taking longer than 5.
It's okay.
Ugh. Man, I don't know. It's hard to just like cut it down to 3. My mom, Stevie Wonder, and let's say Ella Fitzgerald. Come on.
It can change daily. It's fine. It can be 3 different people every day. Okay, number 4. If you're hosting a dinner for 4 people, who are your dream guests and what do you serve them?
Oh, okay. Duke Ellington. Let's see. Zora Neale Hurston, Herbie Hancock, and I want Sarah Vaughan. Yes, and I would make them like amazing Caribbean food. I'd make them like cuckoo and Johnny cakes and flying fish and yes, coconut bread for dessert and rum punch.
Ooh. Can we come over for the leftovers the next
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Next Sunday.
All right. Number 5. Up we go again. Okay, here we go. Oh, what would be the advice you would give your 18-year-old self now?
You got this. You got this. And just keep going. One foot in front of the other.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. Woo! And on the minor. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nice ending there, Amanda.
Yeah, that was good.
The little eyebrow raise.
Yeah.
In the chord. Beautiful. Oh my gosh.
So much fun. Thank you so much for being here, Dawn, and thanks to everybody who's tuned in. Please go check out Dawn's beautiful album, Say Something, her radio show, Get on the Good Foot at CKUA.
Yes. Yep, CKUA. It's 93.7 in Calgary, 94.9 in Edmonton, and CKUA.com all around the world. Yeah.
Fantastic. And you guys can go check out the beautiful reinterpretation of Oh Susannah that's been posted. Links in the chat that we didn't get a chance to listen to. It's so good. So go check that out.
If you enjoyed this conversation, friends, sharing is caring. So feel free to share away and subscribe to everything. Subscribe to all things Dawn Pemberton, and then come subscribe to Music Arts Collective. And if you still want to subscribe, Jody Prosnick and Amanda Tosoff as well. But let's start with Dawn.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here. And
I could just talk to you both literally all day.
Wow.
I know. Yeah. We just touched the surface of these topics. So.
We'll have to have you back. When you get your album done, come on back on the show. We can have a little listening party and
I love that.
Talk about you are welcome. You're part of our family. So welcome back anytime, Dawn. We love you. And obviously there's so much love coming from the internet land. So keep being a bright light for so many of us, my dear friend. And thank you for being so open and honest today.
Thank you.
Yay. Okay. All right, everybody. Have an
Bye,
awesome
everyone.
day.
Thanks for tuning in.
Happy Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.